we get to celebrate. So what does that mean for our future? Well, the economy, as I mentioned, should be one of the issues the next president talks about. But honestly, the economy right now is job one. And we are trying now to pass legislation that will extend federal unemployment benefits to those people who have been especially hard hit by the downturn in this economy through getting a second stimulus package passed. The rebate checks arrived after the Bush recession arrived in this country. It's an indication that we haven't done enough to help those who are getting hurt the most in this economy. So the economy is going to be job one. Transportation is part of that, and I've had a series of roundtables to get some input from local folks. But next year we have a chance to pass a bill that will be the single largest investment in transportation and jobs in the history of this country. Not in the last 10 years, not in the last 20 years, in the history of this country. And so please be engaged on that. That's a critical piece of legislation. Also on the economy, education, access to higher education is critical. And this Congress passed the single largest investment in higher education access since the 1944 GI Bill of Rights by increasing Pell Grant funding, the #1 source of federal financial aid, and cutting in half the interest rate on federally subsidized student loans. But we're not done. We're having problems in the credit market are extending to the student loan market, and we've done some things to backstop that recently as well. So that's part of what's important about the economy. Gas prices are hitting everybody, whether we're here in Washington County where we're paying the highest gas prices in the county, or certainly in other places where it's been over $4 here, it's just hitting over $4 in other places in the state. High gas prices are an indicator for us to do a couple things. One is we force the president to make a change to the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and not put the next installment of fuel into the what we call the SPR, but rather put it out into the supply in order to at least ameliorate or alleviate price increases. But this is a sign to us for the need for some long-term changes in our energy policy. And frankly, we've been rebuffed time and time again, but we need to keep going back at it and pass this legislation that will turn the subsidy structure in this country that we have on energy on its head by putting more of those dollars that we have available into renewable energy and conservation and energy efficiency. That's one of the best long-term things that we can do to decrease our dependence on foreign sources of energy. We did pass the CAFE standards, the first increase in 32 years to vehicle mileage standards in this country. And now, as those rules get implemented, we need to be sure the administration implements that law to the way we expect it, so that we're going to have the new cars that go out on the market are meeting those vehicle mileage standards. So those are a few things that we can do. I know a lot of folks I got a lot of input from folks on the Farm Bill, and but I'm in Washington County. I talked about it in Skagit County. It's important to talk about it. I know there's concerns about not enough reform in that Farm Bill, but I voted for it, and I voted for it for a couple reasons. One is it makes a substantial investment into the kind of farming that we do here in the Pacific Northwest. Not through income subsidy, because our farmers don't want it, and I wouldn't give it to them if they asked for it, but through the research, through opening up markets for their products overseas, as well as helping them with markets domestically. That's what our farmers want, and then after that, they want to be left alone. And the other thing that this bill does is makes a substantial new investment in putting food on the table of hungry families. 2/3 to 75% of the Farm Bill is actually for hunger programs, whether that's food stamps or emergency food assistance program that helps our food banks, like the Bellingham Food Bank, that is seeing an increase in the number of people and an increase in the number of times those people go to the food bank. This is a substantial new investment for folks like that to put food on their table. And we, as Democrats, need to consider that when we're thinking about these kinds of bills, because that's what we stand for, is to help folks out who, due to circumstance, can't be helping themselves out. So I hope you'll stick with me on that. I